Well, welcome back to another Summit Kids Sunday. I'm so pumped that you decided to join us today. And you know what? I've got a special surprise for you. So stay tuned for our special surprise. Awesome. Well, I promised you guys a special surprise. And so today we are so pumped to welcome back Pastor Kara. Come on. We are so pumped, Summit Kids. Pastor Kara, why don't you say hello to all the youngins?
Hi, everybody. So excited to see you. I'm back. Woohoo! So let's jump into our memory verse. So I hear you guys have been memorizing a verse. And let me see. It is from Psalm 145, verse 13b. That's right, B, not A. B. That means that it's the second part of the verse. So the verse is, the Lord is trustworthy in all he promises and faithful in all of that he does. Do you remember what trustworthy means? Well, it means to be able to be relied on or trusted. God is always good, and we can trust him. And do you remember what faithful means? That's right. Faithful means God always does what he says he's going to do. So help me with the actions. Apparently you should know them by now. So I'm going to read off my paper because it's my first time. But you do the actions at home with me, okay? So the Lord, we're going to make an L with our left hand, right? And we're going to put it up to our palm and bring it down. Did you know that's the sign for that's the sign language sign for Lord. So the Lord is trustworthy. We're going to make two fists and we're going to pull on them like a rope. Trustworthy. We're going to do tug of war. The Lord is trustworthy in all that he does. So we're going to spread our hands out wide in all that he does. And his promises, so we're going to promises, in his promises, and faithful, what am I doing? Place the right index finger on your forehead and bring it down to the fist. What the? What is this? Faithful? That's faithful? Okay, faithful. In all that he does, and we're going to spread out our hands again. Okay, let's try that again. That was a little bit of a hard work for me today. Okay, so here we go. The Lord is trustworthy in all of his promises, and he is faithful in all that he does. Psalm 145, verse 13b.
Well, I hope that you guys are as excited as I am to have Pastor Kara back. Even her sharing the memory verse was somehow like so much more fun than we've had in the last couple of weeks together. And so I hope that you guys are pumped. I know I am. I'm super excited to have Kara back, have her energy back, all this stuff. But today, what we're going to do this morning is we're going to do some worship. And so for those of you that have been joining us for a while, you know that this is one of my favorite parts of all of our times together. I just think it's so cool that we have a God who we get to sing to and do actions for and just celebrate him in this way and say, God, you are worthy of our praise and you are worthy of our worship. But I know that sometimes it probably feels really awkward. You're at home maybe by yourself. Maybe your parents are watching church beside you. You got the headphones on. You're watching on your iPad. I don't know how you're watching, but it can sometimes feel a little awkward, right? Like, I don't really want to stand up by myself and worship. Like, that's weird, Quinn. Well, here's the deal. There's lots of people watching with you this morning. And so when we all stand up, we can continue to worship together online. So we might be in our own living rooms, but you can be promised this. There are lots of other kids who this morning are going to be worshiping with you. And so together this morning, we tell God, hey, you are worthy of our praise. You are worthy of us getting up and doing some silly actions for 3 minutes. And so together, let's stand up this morning. Let's all stand up. Where you are, stand up, put the iPad down, put it up on your TV, whatever you're doing, and let's worship God together here this morning.
I remember when I met you. I remember when my heart collided with your grace. I'm not here to recreate it, 'cause all I've got is just a heart that wants to seek your face. It's all about to change, I'll never be the same. So you asked me to follow, and when the doubts return, you speak a better word. I promise I won't look back. I know you're there, I won't be scared. Your future outweighs my past. I know you're there, I won't be scared, because I promised I won't look back. Because I promised I won't look back. If humble hearts are what you're after, you're looking more for who I am than what my voice can see. Faith is more than just a moment. I'm over going through the motions. Give me the real thing. It's all about to change, I'll never be the same. So you asked me to follow, and when the doubts return, you speak a better word. I promise I won't look back. I know you're there, I won't be scared. Your future outweighs my past. I know you're there, I won't be scared, because I promised I won't look back. Because I promised I won't look back. Follow you forever. I'll follow you forever. I promise I won't look back. I know you're there, I won't be scared. Your future outweighs my past. I know you're there, I won't be scared, because I promised I won't look back. Because I promised I won't look back. I'll follow you forever. I'll follow you forever. I won't look back. Follow you forever. I'll follow you. Promised I won't look back.
So good. I hope that you guys really enjoyed getting to worship God together here this morning. Now, this is both a super exciting Sunday, but it's also kind of sad for me. Because you know what? We've gone through a lot of stuff over the last 6 months together. We've gone through a pandemic. We've gone through moving to online teaching. And I'm super excited for Kara to come back and be a part of that with you guys. But I am going to miss you guys. I'm going to miss being with you on Sunday morning. I'm going to miss recording these videos and hopefully having tons of fun together. And so I hope that you guys have had lots of fun. I promise that you're only going to have even more fun as Pastor Kara gets back and begins to send out these videos and interact with you guys and your family. But with all that being said, I've got one last time to teach you guys, and so I hope that you are able to sit down, get comfortable, and just believe that God is going to speak to us here this morning. But as we always do, we want to start in a time of prayer and just ask God to move in and through us here this morning. So would you guys be willing to pray with me? All right, let's pray together. Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity to come together this morning. God, one last time for me, but I hope so many more times for all those that are joining us here today. God, I pray for if there's anyone new watching today, would they just feel your presence and would they know that here at Summit Kids, they are always welcome. And for those that are joining us for maybe the 600th time, I don't know, that seems like a lot, maybe too many. But for those that are joining us, again, I just pray that God, you would continue to move and continue to reveal yourself through your big God story. I pray all of this in Jesus' name, amen. Well, last week we learned about a guy named Joseph. Does anyone remember anything about Joseph? He had that really cool coat. Hopefully you guys wore your coats that you made last week as we were going through our story. But today we're gonna kind of fast forward to a new time in the history of God's story. And so we learned that God used Joseph to bring his people, the Israelites, to the land of Egypt. And this was in a time when there was not a lot of food, and his people needed to come and get food. And Joseph was this awesome kind of member of the king's family, and so he brought his family in. But this part of the big God story took part actually way after Joseph died. And so we're fast forwarding to a new kind of season in God's big story. Now, there was a king in Egypt, and we learned last week he was called Pharaoh. And Pharaoh saw that Israel, Joseph's family, was growing incredibly big and very strong. He didn't like this at all. He didn't want the Israelites to kind of overpower the Egyptians, and so he wasn't a big fan. He thought, what if they decided to fight us? They're getting big, they're getting strong, they might actually win. He said, we'll lose. So Pharaoh decided to make the Israelites his slaves. He made them work very hard and was super mean to them. I don't know if sometimes, like, maybe you have an older brother or older sibling and they make you do something that you don't really want to do and they're maybe a little bit mean to you. This was what Pharaoh was doing. He was making all of the Israelites do stuff that they didn't want to do, and he wasn't being overly nice to them. So let's pretend for a second that we're the people of Israel. So I'm going to tell you got to do something, and then you got to do it. That's how this works. That's how Pharaoh's relationship was with the Israelites. And so you got to do one push-up. All right, one push-up's pretty easy. So now I'm going to make it even harder. You've got to do 5 jumping jacks. 5 jumping jacks. You know what? I'll do it with you. Pharaoh wouldn't have been this nice, but because I'm such a nice guy, let's do 5 jumping jacks together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, I realized that some of you may have had a seizure as the camera was shaking there, but hopefully not. Hopefully we're all safe. But that's kind of what Pharaoh would do, is he would tell these Israelites, you got to do this or else. And the Israelites would end up doing these things. So great job. You guys did awesome doing all of our different activities. But I want to share something else that Pharaoh did. Pharaoh gave the Israelites terrible, just awful rules. One rule, this was the worst of all, Pharaoh said that in Joseph's family, every new baby Israelite boy must be thrown into the Nile River. Now, this wasn't like thrown into the Nile River with a floaty so you can get like a suntan. No, this was like thrown into the Nile River. And so this was an awful rule. Can you imagine something so terrible? I'm sure we can't, because we would never expect that here in Canada. That would never be something that would happen to us. But God had a plan to save his people. And so that's so exciting, that God has this plan to save his people, even though there's this scary kind of terrible rule going on. Now, in one family, a mother and father had a new baby boy. The mother loved her son so much and tried to hide him as long as she could. She didn't want Pharaoh to find her baby son. But babies are difficult to hide. You probably know why. Maybe if you've had a baby brother or sister, they cry a lot. Why don't you do your best baby impression right now? Try your best baby impression. Oh, you want me to do one? Okay, I'll do one as well. Here, let's try our best baby impression together. Wah, wah. Right? That's maybe not a great baby impression. Maybe your baby brother or sister cries a lot louder than that. But we know that babies are hard to hide because they cry and they get hungry and all this stuff. And so babies are hard to cry. Or are hard to hide. They're not hard to cry. They do that lots. But they do. They cry, wiggle, and they need lots of attention. And so after 3 months, the mother couldn't hide the baby anymore. It was just crying too much, needed too much attention. So she carefully wove a basket out of reeds and put her baby in it. Quietly, she hid the basket in the tall grasses by the river. She sent Miriam, the baby's big sister, to watch and keep the baby safe. God helped this mother care for her son. How cool is that? That God helped this mother care for her son. And he also used his big sister to help care as well. I love that. That's so cool. One day, Pharaoh's daughter, the princess, went to the river to take a bath. She noticed a basket floating in the water, and she sent her servant to get it. When she opened the basket, what do you think she saw? Take a guess. What do you think she saw in the basket? If you guessed a baby, you're right. There was a baby in the basket. She knew that it was one of the Israelite babies her father wanted to toss into the river. When the princess heard the baby cry, she felt sorry for him, which I think many of us would do if we found a baby floating in the Bow River. We would also feel sorry for the baby. Friends, do you remember that Miriam, the baby's big sister, was watching the basket? Miriam said, "Princess, shall I get a mother to take care of this baby for you?" When the princess said yes, Miriam ran home and got the baby's own mother to take care of him. That's amazing. God has saved him. That's so cool. I love that. Later, when the baby grew older, he went to live in the palace with the princess. She raised him like her own child and named him Moses. I'm sure some of you recognize that name, which means I drew him out of the water. Wow. God had an amazing plan to save Moses. When Moses was grown up, God used him in incredible ways. God's people, the Israelites, were still slaves, but God had a plan to use Moses to set them free. Moses would be their leader and take them to a special land that God had promised them. In this new land, the Israelites would be able to worship God without the Egyptians getting in the way. God saved Moses and his people. You know what's even more cool? We know that God has actually saved us too. He sent Jesus to save us, to lead us, and to teach us how to live. And so, Summit Kids, this is God's promise. That when we go to him in faith and we say, "Jesus, we want to follow you," that he saves us too. So I hope this morning that you are encouraged that even in maybe some of the most challenging moments, even when maybe your big brother or big sister is acting like a bit of a pharaoh, that you know what? God has saved us, and that is so encouraging. Summit Kids, I hope that you guys just are having so much fun. I hope that you learned something this morning. I hope that you got just a glimpse of who God is through this big God story. And you know what? I'm so thankful I've got to do the last 6 months with you, but I'm also super excited that Pastor Kara gets to do the next season with you. So, Summit Kids, this is goodbye, but not forever. I can't wait to see some of you back on Sundays. If you do choose to come back on Sundays, hey, we got some sweet activity boxes for you here. But for those of you watching online, it has been so much fun getting the journey with you over the last 6